Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, as we are headed to the map of Oxide LE for our second series. Kind of between these two guys. First player here at the top right, it is the blue Protoss player playing for Alpha X. Yes, classic.
Talking about classics, this man is a classic himself. In the red is the Terran from Shopify Rebellion. It's Byun. Well, also classic is a classic, but yeah.
Yeah. Alright, so gonna have ourselves a PVT here, kind of similar to the last series.
Yeah.
But of course,
well, you know me, it's my favorite matchup, so I'm all down for this.
Yeah, I love myself some PVT as well. And you know, both of these players, actually all these players do have different playstyles. So like Dubiho, more of a mech guy, although he didn't really show it in the last game, but the last series, but they do have you know, some little differences between their playstyles, and I'm gonna be curious to see how this series pans out compared to the previous one.
Yeah, there's really not two players who play this matchup in this exact same way. They might make the same exact tech choices, which is something that is kind of a given in this matchup. You kind of have to make those choices, especially as the Protoss player. But the way you use them, the way you play throughout the game, it's so different between so many players. It's such an entertaining matchup to watch.
Yeah, for sure. And immediately I see a little bit of a difference because in the Hero series, Hero kind of sent his probe early across the map to bother the Terran player, maybe deny him the command center or the barracks. But Classic, he usually plays more of a kind of like maybe a gateway scout instead. He does send his probe out a bit later, if not at all, and maybe just use his Adeptus scout. But yeah, he's one that does not quite send out the probe early to scout or deny the barracks.
And Byun is going to go with his signature build, setting it off with 2 Rex before dropping down a factory to get those upgrades as fast as possible for those Marines and just bulk their numbers up for anything that it's incoming. And yeah, you've been saying this perfectly. Like, the tools are not really different from the previous series, but those two players are using them completely differently.
Yeah, and you do see Byun, he's more of a very aggressive play style and kind of reflecting right here now with the opening of the 3 racks. However, he is going to lose some of his Marines to this bit of a pressure here. So all in all,
which works very good for Classic. Like, lowering the Marines count in the early game, forces out the bunker. And it's gonna slow down Byun by quite a bit. It's a 3rd Rex incoming. I think that Byun decided for the 3rd Rex, knowing that he was bound to lose a couple of those Marines. And he couldn't go for just a straight up 2-1-1. So I really like this, and I'm just waiting for the 3rd command center to go down.
Yeah, that's a good point. When you're going for a 3 Rex build like this, dwindling the amount of Marines in the early game really helps out. And also even forcing that bunker out, because right now I'm sure he would have wanted that 100 minerals into Marines instead, or maybe even supply depot, but instead got to throw down that,
or the command center.
Yeah, that command center as well. Yeah,
we see a factory instead. It wants to get the Medivacs out as soon as possible. It's a very aggressive kind of opener. Like, you usually go for this to just ease your way into a huge macro game with an earlier command center, the earliest possible 3rd command center. But Byun is saying, nah man, I'm just gonna make 1,000,000 Marines. And these Templar Archives from Classic, blow for blow.
Yeah, I mean, that's really going to help out. If you can get the storming time, because, of course, Byun's army is going to be heavily invested into those Marines, and, of course, Storm does great against plumped up Marines. So, looks like
You
Byun
also
is.
see the early charge.
Oh yeah, that's also helpful against Marines.
Yeah. Oh, classic. Oh, can he snipe down combat shield? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that is devastating for Byun. Classic, clean, incredibly clean so far.
Yeah, I agree. He is just playing really sharp right now, and just kind of making this big, huge timing attack weaker and weaker by the minute.
And I also love this shield battery positioning. Trying to enforce 2 different locations, which is the third and the ramp towards the natural. It's still going to be pretty tough. Like, Storm is almost completed, there's 1 Immortal on the field. Byun doesn't really have a way to strike. He used 1 Steam, and this damage is permanent right now, guys. The 2 Medivacs are just now out. So Classic has sniped down more of these units before the Medivacs come in. Oh, he doesn't manage to get too much. And it's drop time. Or as someone will say, drop a clock.
Alright, looks like he is going to actually land here. I'm not quite sure. Maybe he's anticipating like an observer scouting him, or maybe he's anticipating the dirt was plotted down here, but I'm not sure. Oh, actually, he did scout the dirt at the 12 o'clock, so I'm not quite sure.
I think he wanted to just heal his units up. Yeah, that 1 pylon is gonna unpower 1 gateway the Cybernetics core. Oh, wait, the Cybernetics core is actually going to die. Alright, this hurts.
Oh, he does get sandwiched though, so these Marines and Marauders gonna get cleaned up. But there is a huge army at the 12 o'clock base. Shield battery overcharge get activated, but there's nothing to heal actually. And Classic scrambling to retreat back home to help defend.
Oh, what a beautiful micro from Byun. He's gonna take so many probes, retreating with his army to a better position. He's gonna lose a Widow Mines and a couple of these Byun units, but I'd say it was definitely worth it for the Terran. He's even trying to chunk down the rest of the army of Classic before he can strike, and Classic is kind of forced to deal damage right now. He lost 14 probes, his third base is completely destroyed, and right now this is not a good position to fight in.
Yeah, I don't think Classic can get really much done, as Byun does have the defender's advantage.
There are 5 SCVs in the middle of nowhere right now. Why? I want to know why.
Oh, I'm anticipating that he probably did a misrally because he was attacking at the area. I bet you he sent his rally at that general area. So yeah, those SCVs going on a little bit of an exploration journey.
Yeah. They were very brave indeed.
Yeah, maybe they were like watching too much PBS and like got inspired by Dora the Explorer and
yeah,
went to
most definitely. Oxide is such a beautiful map. Why not explore it? They said. Liberators are gonna try to siege down one of the 2, but is not gonna really do much. Here comes the shield barrier overcharge. Oh wow, these storms are kind of hitting the jackpot, but it doesn't really look like it's enough. Widow Mines are a pretty powerful unit, right?
Oh yeah, they're basically, if you did play Brood War back in the day, they're kind of like a little bit like vultures, with the mines and stuff. But
yeah, the spider mines.
Yeah, the spider mines and all that.
Yeah, spider mines are even worse, to be honest. But yeah. Alright, this War Prism doesn't really have a lot of health on it, and it can be snapped down by Byun, and if he manages to do that, it's kind of a huge blow to Classic indeed. Of course, this base is gonna be cancelled just immediately, but now Byun can strike with a very powerful army indeed. The Archon is a little bit exposed, he's gonna fall down immediately. Here comes the Storms, a very good position. The War Prism is safe from harm, and here the rest of the army of Byun is just steaming to death. one more storm on top of that might be very deadly, and Classic is pushing forward.
Ooh, this is pretty scary. Not a lot of energy to heal those injured Marine and Marauders. They're quite in the red. And oh, a nice juicy storm there at the end.
Yeah, this one Archon killed 6 SCVs with 2 attacks. That's how beautiful that storm was.
And now it forces Byun to have no choice but to go for the kind of the base trade here.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a desperate maneuver since recall is available and there's not a lot of production in the way right now. The EMP is not really gonna hit the check, but he's gonna hit one of the High Templars. But yeah, there's one more shockwave available. It's very important. It's gonna hit a lot of the units of Classic actually. All of the High Templars. And on the top side of the map, the fur base of Classic is gonna be completely cleared out. 16 probes lost on one side, 22 SCVs on the other. Classic still looking for another moment to shine. This orbital command is in real danger. And these Vikings are basically not doing much. The Ghosts, though, they're such an important unit. To the point in which, once they're out, as the Protoss player, you need to play in such a different way.
Yeah, especially since he only has 5 High Templars, so every High Templar is so crucial. And yeah, I think with those because those EMP one EMP can pretty much render all those High Templars useless. So gotta be careful to micro against those ghosts. But it's so hard because it's not like a projectile of any sorts. It's not like, you know, like a Raven doing a anti-armor missile and you have time to react and split one of your units away from the rest. EMP is pretty much like on the spot. So
yeah, it's almost a snap. And to be honest, Byun does not have the shockwave upgrade, which is very important. But yeah, you can see that one EMP eating basically nothing since there was no shockwave upgrade. But yeah, there's still a lot of ghosts. Yeah, these 2 EMPs actually gonna hit a lot of stuff. These Archons are very bruised, and now the Immortals are gonna try to push forward without their shield battery. No, shield battery, the battery. Oh my god, how it's called that ability? I don't remember.
Alright, looks like Classic gonna set up a little bit of a contain here. However, I'm not quite sure if it's gonna work out well because those are a lot of ghosts and their Marines and Marauders are all in 2/2 upgrades. So really, I feel like Byun can just kind of brute force his way out of here.
Yeah, and both players playing with a very low economy scenario right now, meaning that those spellcasters are just the clutch factor, and Ghosts kind of beat High Templars in this kind of battle.
Alright, here we go.
Oh my goodness! This must be the most beautiful EMPs I've ever seen in my life. All of the army of Classic is gonna be annihilated by just one steam forward. This is definitely GG. And Byun's micro does it again.
Alrighty, we are back with the map of Lightshade for game number 2. And we'll see if this guy here can tie up the series as he is down 0-1. Playing for Alpha X, hailing from Korea. He's our blue Protoss. He is Classic.
In the top left-hand corner instead, from Shopify Rebellion, it's a red Terran leading the series 1-0. It is Byun.
Alright, looks like a probe will be sent out after that first initial gateway.
Again, it's a gateway scout, not the earlier we've seen before.
It seems like Zest and Hero do tend to send out their probe earlier, while players like Classic and maybe Trap.
Yeah, also Trap.
Will
Just send it after the gateway.
Yeah. I guess it's just a matter of preference, I suppose.
Yeah, it's different focus. Alright, Sabacor before the Nexus. Again, Classic wants to get the pieces of his puzzle a little bit quicker, sacrificing a little bit of his economy for it. And I think it really is important against Byun. Since having those kind of key units before the Ghost Academy is out is going to be very important. You've seen what a player such as Byun is able to do once EMP is available. And Classic wants to kind of clash the game before that, I think.
Yeah, and even before then, like, I feel like I don't know how you would feel, but I felt like with Byun going for the 3 racks and Classic kind of denying or picking off a lot of the Marines in the early game and then denying the combat shield later on as well. I felt like Classic was in prime position to actually take that game. However, Byun with his micro, just harassing everywhere, catching Classic off guard or out of position, and then, like you said, as you mentioned, the EMP plays, that really kind of closed it out and allowed Byun to take that first game, even though he was kind of behind in the early beginning of the game.
Yeah, it's almost impossible to say that Byun is ever behind because he's able to do so much with so little. And past a certain point, I felt like the players were even, actually, after a while, because Classic was not really able to get anything while Byun was catching him off guard to a point in which he got the advantage that prompted him into winning. But even when they were like on even foot, Byun was just looking to annihilate his opponent's army very quickly, even though the storms were very good. We've seen that play with the storms onto the SCVs, those mist teams, I guess. And in the end, it was just Byun destroying Classic in one clean fight. It's all he needs is that one clean fight. And Classic wants to avoid that. It really does.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Byun, he's kind of came back about I guess a little bit less than a year ago before Classic came back. So Byun has had quite some time to kind of get back into the swing of things, and it seems like Byun's kind of looking pretty solid, at least based off of that first game. And it seems like he's one of those players that for some reason when he's behind he looks stronger. I don't know why. It's like back in like high school or your college days, where if your assignment is like getting down to the wire, it seems like you procrastinate and all that, and like for some reason, like you kind of go into like a Super Saiyan mode and you like finish your paper like a lot quicker or something. I don't know. Yeah, it's like pressure makes diamonds or something.
It really does. Like, there's so many players in StarCraft 2 that really, once they get a little bit of a loss, they start to snowball in the wrong way, right? Very moody players. And Byun is just always on top of his emotions. And it really makes for a great StarCraft 2 player.
Yeah, for sure. He's such a fun player to watch and cast because of just his pure playstyle of aggression and multitasking. However, he is going to have to multitask against these stalkers here, trying to put on some pressure. But I think with the defensive setup, with the bunker, with the marine spread, and as well as the marauders, especially taking out that observer, so it kind of denies the stalker high ground vision. Can't really blink up there. He is gonna probably be able to not really lose too much. And this time around, gonna have a lot more Marines compared to the previous game where he did lose some Marines in the early game. Didn't have quite the large army. And it looks like the medevac's about to pop out, and that's when he should be moving out.
Yeah, I was just about to point that out. Like in the previous game, he did lose something in the early game. He was forced into a couple decisions that slowed him down. This game, though, it was just clean. It was just smooth as silk, right? He just was able to do exactly the same build as before, but just smoother. So now he has a clean advantage leading into these this fraction of the game in which Storm is not available to Classic. And if he manages to deal damage in this fraction, oh, it's gonna be some trouble for Classic.
Alright, looks like the double Marines will, double Medevac drop will go ahead and drop those units off. Unfortunately for him, Classic actually expanded to the triangular base, so won't be able to find anything. But here we go. +1 about to fit. Oh, sorry, not plus. Yeah, +1 defense armor.
Wait a second. Byun can knock down Storm. If he moves out right now, he can knock down Storm. Classic is chrono boosting it. Oh my god. Oh my god.
No. Oh my god. He's focus firing on the. Is he?
On the pylon. On the pylon. He can focus down the pylon.
Oh no.
Oh, it's denied. Oh my god. This is so huge. This is incredible for Byun. He's now fighting also at the third base and he's winning the battle against Classic. Classic had already some high tempos on the field, but this is a disaster for the Blue Protoss.
Yeah, losing that Storm Tech, Templar Archive, and 15 probes. This was such a huge play by Byun, and now he's crippled Classic all the way down here. And yeah, this is not looking good for our Blue Protoss.
Was so close, but yet so far for Classic. He already had high tempos on the field collecting energy to get those storms out, but they were never able to do so. They tried to morph into Archons once the deed was done, but it was already too late. And now Classic is well, let's call it a desperate position, but it's far worse than that.
Yeah, especially because, you know, this is not like a situation where if you cancel Thermal Lance, like the Colossus still is useful, but without the Storm, the High Templar is absolutely useless. And forget about the High Templars, there's even absolutely no ground units here to defend. And Byun takes a quick second game and goes up 2-0. Oh, actually, this is pretty interesting. Classic opening up with the Stargate instead of the Twilight Council.
Yeah, it is definitely interesting. Really changes stuff up. Especially since also Byun is doing something different. Now going for the 1-1-1. Going into Widowmine drop soon after.
Yeah, so both players kind of changing it up because if I recall correctly, Stock Classic opened up with Blink Stock Decks both in the first two games, while Byun opened up with the 3 racks. And this time around, yeah, completely different build orders by both players, so this should be interesting.
We see a tech lab next to the factory, actually, so I mean, he can start making Widowmines nonetheless, but I kind of doubt it. I think Byun wants to get a couple of wrecks down as soon as possible and get combo shields. And Steam, of course. Oh, actually, yeah, never mind. I think it's a Raven.
Yep, looks like a Raven, but oh, actually a little bit of a supply block here. So unfortunate for Byun. Wow, Classic's racking up those Phoenixes. Now, these Phoenixes in this Stargate play has yet to be scouted by Byun, so he's going to be playing in the dark a little bit.
And Byun was trying to knock down on the left the probe to avoid the third nexus to come down as soon as possible. He didn't manage, and now Byun is going to try to strike in the main instead. The Phoenixes are trying to kite the Marines and deal as much damage to the Medivac as possible. The Medivac will go down, and now it's time to lift up some Marine into the sky. Only 3 probes are going to fall. All of the Medivac survive. All of the Phoenixes survive, and Classic was able to hide his end right until it was clutch in killing that one Medivac. And now it's time to move out with the Phoenixes and gain full map control. Oh, the beauty of Stargate Protoss when it comes to Phoenixes.
Oh yeah, they can be quite annoying and almost snowbally at times because, you know, those Phoenixes, they rack up some energy, so you can kind of come into the mineral line over and over and pick off SCVs, and even if there's a turret or a Widowmine in the mineral line, you can catch some of those transferring SCVs. Even the SCVs building buildings as well, because they're probably going to be away from those turrets as well. So yeah, Phoenixes are quite annoying if not, you know, kind of not controlled on the Terran side.
Yeah, it's so fun to watch this Phoenix's game as well. Because there's a lot of different style of play, right, to counter this Phoenix's. Like, most players just go with, yeah, I'm just gonna make more stuff. And I'm just not gonna be afraid of ever getting a big attack against me. While some players actually try to tech out aggressively against this. And Byun seems to be of the former school of thought. He's gonna try to just drop down as many things as possible, as quick as possible, and be content with losing some. The Raven is actually doing some work, but it's just gonna fall down.
Yeah, doesn't really get too much done, actually, as the Classic was able to pull off those probes in time. And that's kind of unfortunate, because I'm sure Byun would have loved the Raven to be in the fight, the big fight, later on in the game, whether it's anti-armor missiles on top of those Protoss units, or maybe some auto turrets to join up in the fight, or even an interference matrix on maybe a War Prism, or even a Colossus, because it looks like Byun, or sorry, not Byun, Classic is electing to go for the Colossus tech.
Yeah, Phoenix Colossi, it's a very powerful army, although a very tough one to control. Probably one of the most complicated armies to use. And let's see how Classic does. The tanks are unsieged, and they can be sniped down very quickly. The Phoenixes cannot get too far. Beautiful force speeds are gonna block down a lot of the units of Byun into an awful position. And I'd say the trade was kind of even, since all of the Phoenixes survive, and we see Byun actually retreating. Losing one tank and one medivac sure does hurt. He did lose one medivac, right? Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Oh, no, he didn't.
Oh, wait,
actually, he didn't.
Wait. Oh, yeah, there was a medevac loss, yeah.
It was in the earlier stages.
Oh, right. I think more hurtful is that tank, because tank is one of those units where, a couple of, a little bit of tanks, not as scary, but as they increase in numbers, they get exponentially more scary. Almost similar to like carriers, where maybe the first 2 or so carriers not very difficult to deal with, but once it gets to like, I don't know, like 6, 7, or 8, yeah, it gets extremely difficult to deal with.
Yeah, and especially with Phoenixes out, these tanks are never safe, so you want to keep them alive at all stages, especially during that one fight in which Phoenixes are not able to get on top of the tanks. So yeah, it looks like Byun is gonna say, yeah, I'm not gonna make enough tanks anyway to counter those Phoenixes to keep the count high against those lifts, and he's just gonna keep the one and focus mostly on his ground army that has less counters. But now Templar Archives has been immediately dropped by Classic, and Storm once again might be the clutch factor.
Yeah, kind of going to that classic old school kind of army composition with Colossus and High Templars and some Archons to sprinkle in there as well. And then of course those Phoenixes going to be really helpful during the fight as well, whether it's lifting up those tanks or Widow Mines, or even sniping off those medevacs. So Byun is going to have his work cut out for him in terms of going up against that Protoss ball. And it looks like he might want to actually go into the main base. Yeah, he is going to go ahead and load them up.
It's Doom Drop time. Against Phoenixes is a very scary maneuver to do. He's going to try to force the attention of Classic elsewhere before striking. He knows the Phoenixes are not back home. One of his Widow Mines gets lifted, so that's the perfect time to strike. Byun's gonna realize that, and he's gonna move out immediately. Straight into the main. Recall gets issued by Classic, and Byun is just gonna move his army around on the left and retreat with his Doom Drop. Oh, the Phoenixes though. Yeah, not in time.
I gotta say, I'm really loving how Classic is defending this, because it could have been really ugly. And him using the recall ability, as well as making sure his units are in position, getting the watchtower for the extra vision, has allowed him to really kind of not lose too much against this multi-pronged harass of Byun.
Yeah, his army is spread perfect. Yeah, right now he's moving a little bit in an awkward way, but yeah, that was a beautiful trade again for Classic. It's gonna take a little bit of damage. He's gonna be forced to cancel the base on the left. It's no big deal. Well, Classic is actually maxed out. He wants to trade into the army of Byun, and this army is actually doing so much damage. Blink is on the way. I mean, like, look at those Zealots. They're just not dying really quickly, right? Even against those Widowmites. And now the Colossi are trying to get on top of the rest of the army. Byun is trying to move on the right. There's a lot of Zealots waiting for him. And here comes the Archons to close it out for the Medivacs. And it's time for the Phoenixes to shine. These two Medivacs are going down. The whole army of Byun was basically cleared. Now Byun on the right being chased down by Zealots. He's gonna kite them, but he's not gonna deal damage. Classic reestablishing his base on the left. And you can see something very scary in the production tab though. And that one thing is Shockwave upgrade for the EMP.
Such a pretty upgrade. Alright, another huge fight here in the middle, and Byun's army gets absolutely caught out. There is so much splash damage here. The Colossus stand talls. A lot of the things are injured, but they're still alive. And Byun is gonna have to. Oh my goodness, he's gonna have to like kite and spread for his life right here. This is a 123 army supply versus 90 of Byun.
Yeah, this army of Classic is so versatile as well. He can deal with so many different threats at once. And there's no ghost in the production tab for Byun. Classic is just steamrolling right now, getting into the natural and destroying everything. He's gonna try to retreat. He knows... I don't think recall is available yet, actually. So the base trade might
it's actually... Yeah, there's actually a recall, actually. It looks like the cooldown has cooldown and...
Oh, yeah, it's available.
Yeah, but I don't think Classic really minds. I mean...
He has a stronger army. He has been dealing damage already. And yeah, he's gonna lose that fourth base again. He's gonna recall half of his army while the other half is easily taking care of the third base of Byun.
Looks like he doesn't quite see the the bottom base there, so it doesn't go after it. But yeah. Looks like both of them just trading out bases, or at least one of the bases. However, Classic's army is still humongous, and unless Byun can kind of maneuver around it, it's going to be tough, because remember, those Phoenixes are still out and about, so he can't really like fly away safely.
And if this army wasn't hard enough to control, Classic is adding disruptors to it as well. Classic trying to rush forward. He's gonna take a not so good trade, but he's so ahead right now that even those trades are gonna work in his favor. And now Classic waiting for more key units to show up in the form of those disruptors.
Alright, this might be our last fight of this game here. Classic actually not quite committing to it yet.
Every single second that passes, it's not working in favor of Classic though. Like these Shockwave EMP from the Ghost can really do some wonders. Oh, the Phoenixes get sniped down. Oh, the EMPs though, they're not eating very much right now. And Classic pushing forward. Here comes the Purification Novas. They're gonna hit a lot of SCBs, but not much more. The army of Byun is actually putting a fight. Oh, but the Purification Novas are annihilating the army of Byun. And Classic takes his first game of this series.
Alright, so a little bit of a base trade last game, and you know what? I would say that mainly the thing that I gathered from that game, the most impressive thing the thing that stood out most to me was the defense of Classic. Because Byun, he was like really aggressive, trying to drop, trying to attack in the left and right. He was trying to do everything he could to, you know, kind of create a lot of chaos for Classic, but Classic with those Phoenixes and his unit army positioning was really great, and allowed him to able to defend all the harassment that Byun threw his way.
Yeah, it was really looking rough. Like Byun did try on so many different occasions to just strike at something, but Classic's so clean on his defense, denying damage on every single attempt, and overall snowballing the game to the point in which even like non-favorable trades were still looking good. And here we have something new, the proxy pattern on the right from Classic, and I think this is for Stargate.
And there you have it. Stargate indeed.
It's gonna be Oracles flying in and dealing damage before Byun can even notice it. And I'm not too sure about what is going to be the follow-up from Classic, but Byun here is gonna go for the double command center before factory. Well, in this case, before second Rex, which is the most standard way to play this. He's gonna have 3 Rexes, and this time he's gonna make me happy and go for the double command center expansion in the earlier game.
It's gonna be a little bit of a risk, but if he can get away with it, that will spell great for his economy. However, again, he still needs to contend with the Suppressor Debt, but more importantly, that Oracle that's about to pop very, very soon.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be difficult to deal with right now for Byun. Adept really keeping track of everything that is happening in that natural. Shade after shade, and it's time for the first Oracle to actually come flying in, going straight into the main. The main is completely defenseless right now. There are a couple Marines, but they're way off position. Here comes a Pulsar Beam activation, and it's gonna kill at least 4 SCVs. And there you have it. Here's the 5th one. Oh no, it deactivated. Oh, unlucky. Second Oracle though, coming right up. There's still no missile turret here, and he's going to strike in the natural. Marine's gonna be unloaded from that bunker after the 6th total SCV is going to fall. The Oracle is gonna fly in a bit of a dangerous position, but it's gonna survive.
Alright, so nicely Michael there by Classic does save both Oracles, so those Oracles can very well just dive into the mineral line once again, or they can just go ahead and just keep revelating on Byun's army, keeping tab of where they are, and then even maybe later in the game, maybe some stasis traps.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so many uses. Such a key unit to have as the Protoss player and to keep alive. And talking about stasis board, blocking this one to stop an eventual kind of harassment attempt from Byun. Back home, Blink and 2 Forges being made by Classic and really taking full control of the map so far.
Yeah, I'm loving this. Just getting all the map control, dictating this game, the pace of this game as well, and just macroing like crazy as he is got the 3rd Nexus up and running. All he needs to do is just work towards that army composition, and as well as get those upgrades, which it looks like he is, as you can see upgrades across the board for our blue Protoss.
Yeah, not really producing a lot of workers, so really focusing down on getting all the pieces of the puzzle together, and now even trying to strike down at something more with the Oracles and Goon's Code being these 4 Stalkers. Oh, it's been a while since I've seen a probe in the production tab. What is going on?
Well, he's certainly not hurting from it too much because he's still quite decently ahead in terms of the worker count, but it looks like he is gonna go ahead and invest a lot of those minerals into these additional gateways, because he knows the timing of the Terran player in terms of when he can kind of get away with skipping out on probes, he can get away with making a lot of probes and not making a lot of units, and when to start switching over to army production. And so looks like the timing is up. It's usually around 7 minutes or so. That's when the Protoss can start expecting a push of some sort by the Terran player. And so it looks like the Gators are warping in here. We'll allow him additional warp-ins. And as I say that, the Oracles will dive into the natural once again, getting additional SCV kills.
Oh yeah, that is kind of ramping up, isn't it? It's going to be to a total count of 12 after the previous 6. But right now, Byun wants to make it even. He's gonna try to drop down onto those simulators and get a little bit of damage. Oh, the blink forward. Classic. Again, talking about clean defenses. Yes, he's going to lose those 3 probes and the assimilator. But man, that was really worth it. If he killed this other Medivac as well, that would have been absolutely amazing for him.
Yeah, that Medivac does get away with 17 health. And so it is pretty injured. Maybe he wants to go ahead and repair it. Because right now he can't afford to lose any units.
Definitely not in the commanding positions we've seen him before. But that's where Byun is the most scary, right?
Yeah, that's true. Maybe because he was ahead 2-0, he's kind of like let up. And so Classic kind of getting the momentum back into his favor. But when he goes to that 5th game, so maybe if it does go to a 5th game, Byun might be able to turn it back up again.
Yeah, when he's back against the wall, that's when he shines. Just like a hurt lion, right? Or something like that.
I'm thinking more of a hurt there or something. Bambi or something.
Yeah. All the same, I guess.
Oh, actually, this little bit of a Doom drop actually catches these group of charge lots. So nice little catch there by Byun.
Yeah, definitely. Classic is gonna know this was a Doom drop attempt. So he's gonna send in the rest of his army to try and snipe down as many units as possible. And Byun is kind of cornered here. There's nowhere to run for his army. Classic still not really training that much up. Now that he's clearing Medivacs, is finally gonna clear up. But he lost a couple units himself. Still, Byun is not really happy since his position was not the best even before this, and now the 4 Archons are in the making. I'd say Classic is in a pretty dominant spot.
Yeah, I agree as well. I mean, this is
+2/+2 kicking in as well before the Terran player.
Oh wow. Yeah, this gonna. I mean, there is like, you know, his own 2-2 is halfway done, but I don't think it's gonna be finishing time before this attack commences. And this is not looking good. I mean, Classic got so much on the ground. 99 army supply to 62, and here we go. He is going to press on forward without remorse. Might even get the cancel on this command center. Oh, not quite there yet, but still a lot of army here to contend with. Byun microing his best, but he might need to pull the SCVs.
Yeah, those Archons even ate 2 EMPs, but they were not shockwave EMPs, not by an inch. And Classic is gonna tie up the series.
Alright, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. This is it. This is do or die. We'll find out who will advance to the finals to meet up with Hero. Spawning at the top right, we got our blue Protoss playing for Alpha X. Give it up for Classic.
His opponent missed 1 match point, missed 2 match points. Here is his third chance. Can he do it right here on Jagged Nafa from Shopify Rebellion? It is Byun.
Alright, so no shenanigans happening out here to start off at this game, but as the series has progressed along, I don't think it has been too cheeky or too cheesy. I mean, we did have a little bit of a cheese in the previous game, but all in all, overall, I don't think the series has been, you know, a game of trickery, but rather a game of like micro and strategy.
Yeah, it's been really down to the basics. and who had the best basics throughout those 4 games. And as you can see from the score, it was kind of even.
Alright, a little bit of a probe block here. We'll once again force the off-centered command center. A little bit of an annoying thing, but no biggie.
Yeah. It's more annoying when a second SCV is forced, but yeah, it's not gonna be the case.
Alright, looks like we have a Reaper coming out for Byun.
Yeah. That's a little bit on the odd side, especially considering there's a second Rex incoming. But yeah, it's Juggernaut, it's huge. You want some scouting, SCVs are too slow, Marines are too slow. Reapers kind of does it on bigger maps.
Alright. Reaper kind of chilling out here. I'm not quite sure. I would have thought he would have gone in here. Okay, looks like he will. Oh, actually, no. Backs out as he sees the stalker there.
Yeah. It's mostly there just to make sure nothing is moving out at some inappropriate times, let's say. Oh. Yeah, still trying to sneak in to check what is the first piece of tech.
Yeah, actually pretty interesting. Classic looks like he's gone for the Robo facility off the bat.
Yeah.
You know, in the previous games, he has gone for Twilight first, he's gone for Stargate first, but this time around, going for that robotics facility, getting that early observer for the early scout, playing it very, very safe. And it looks to me, especially with the third and fourth gas, that he might want to, he's going straight into maybe Colossus before getting his dirt base. So it looks like he's going to play it like super, super safe.
Yeah, I do like this style, to be completely honest. I do feel like it's a good choice on these bigger maps, and I really do want to see myself some War Prism speed tech. Since we're on Jagannatha, it can really do some wonders with disruptors and those speedy boys in the air.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I feel like it might be Colossus just because of the gases, because I don't think you need too much gas for the disruptor, but it could very well be disruptors with the War Prism speed.
Yeah, it's one of the two. It's most definitely one of the two. It's Colossi. It's the safest bet. All right. I wanted to have some fun there, but yeah, whatever.
Alright, looks like Byun gonna go ahead and move across the map. His stim is about to be done as well as his combat shield, so looking to be a nice little timing here. There's no shield batteries quite yet for Classic, and oh, actually, I'm getting worried. He might actually force the cancel off this Nexus, which would be pretty decent.
And the force fields are very good. Now, Byun wanted to, but a little bit more than he could chew. Probably the best bet was just to stop this Nexus, but he didn't commit into it. And I do feel like that's a misplay from Byun.
Yeah, I felt like he could have gotten a lot more, especially since it wasn't any shield battery, but also because those sentries were out in the front, and I think he could have actually sniped a bit more of those sentries. But either way, Classic does hold, and he does still have his Nexus, warping in more sentries actually. But I think he really should throw down the shield battery right now at the third.
Yeah, 6 more gateways to resupply his army as well. But Byun, I think Byun really wants to multi-pro in this game. He really wants to work around a very clunky and slow army on the side of Classic. Since this is an army with no Stargate and no Blink, it's gonna be an army that it's gonna be fairly easy to kite, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah. You know, I feel like, I don't know, maybe Classic kind of anticipated like some timing push, because he did open up with the Colossus tech first, which does actually do well against these timing pushes, because it allows him to get the Colossus and help out with the defense. I don't know, maybe I have that's a bit of a theory, like maybe he scouted Byun for a different tournament and knows his build order on this specific map. But anyhow, let's hold that thought as Classic looking to go for the counterattack. And oh, actually this bunker holding up pretty well.
Yeah, that bunker, it really tanked so much damage, and I really feel like Classic should have focused fire onto those SCVs to keep them lower in count. On the other side of the map, Classic is gonna lose 15 probes. It doesn't really look like he's doing much. Now he's forced to recall back home, but recall gets cancelled by Byun, heading straight into the game, into the main. Well, I had it correctly the first time, because this is looking definitely game. And Byun backs against the wall. That's where he shines, guys. Classic forced into this Hail Mary in the main base of Byun, but it's not looking good. He has 17 workers scrambling around. With all Byun, he might not really have a lot in his army, but the army of Classic, as I was saying before, it's a little bit clunky. It doesn't really have a way to reach onto the tanks. He needs to commit onto them, he needs to dive into them. The War Prism doing its best to keep those units alive. On the other side of the map, Byun is destroying everything left. The Valky now bringing in battle to these Colossi, and the Colossi are about to fall. Another good juggle from Classic, but that's just style points, nothing more, because the game is over, and so is Deceivers. Byun goes into the finals.